What's up, everyone? It's Mongo. I figured it's Saturday night. Let's shoot the shit. Trying something new for a post game, post show, post week, whatever. Figured talk about Collision, talk about the week we had Dynamite, also talk about Grand Slam coming up, and whatever you guys want to talk about here in the comments. Obviously, just got done Collision. Emily's moderating in the comments. Thanks for joining our post Collision show. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Absolutely. I think it's definitely a return to form with this Collision. It felt more balanced. There was a lot of promos setting up the future. There was a lot of action in the matches, a lot of fun. The Outrunners getting super over. That bunkhouse match was fantastic, even if the Massachusetts boys didn't go over. But that what a crazy match. Dustin putting barbed wire on his boot and shattered dreams to Bennett. The spot to the outside where they're doing the Road Warriors homage. Sammy going through the tables of Swanton and then finally hitting a Swanton for the win. Dustin still has it after almost 6 decades in wrestling. Holy shit. Sammy just going crazy. And I like backstage, you have Dustin pumping him up. You have Sammy basically challenging Okada, saying, I'm going after that international title, continental title. And I'm going to do an eliminator match next week at Grand Slam. And if I win, the week after that, the 5-year anniversary, I'm going after that belt. So I know eliminator matches aren't always the most popular thing, but I mean, gets him a shot in the finals, gets him a shot potentially to face Okada a second time. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. It's cool to see Dustin Rhodes in Sammy's corner. I really dig seeing the veteran presence kind of helping getting away from that Jericho vortex that really kind of brought Sammy down. I mean, he's too talented. I don't understand the fake outrage on Sammy. I don't understand how fans turned on Sammy so quick. It really started with when his relationship ended with Pam after he proposed. Everyone turned on Sammy suddenly. Everyone was just like, oh, we don't like him anymore because he wronged this person. We know nothing about it, but we're going to scream into the ether that how dare he break her heart. And I kind of feel like he always had the bad end of the stick of that, and people never really gave his career a chance, and he was stuck in the vortex. So it's cool to see him break out of this shell. I'm glad to see him going to the next step. I mean, he's got the titles with Dustin right now, and he has the potential to go after Okada, and I think that'll be a fantastic match. What do you guys think about him going after Okada too soon? Should he win the eliminator match, have 2 matches in a row against Okada, screwy finish? I mean, it's going to be a collision match, so I think it's good because if there's something I don't like, they can tape it. But I think Sammy getting the opportunity at the Continental Champion Okada, I think him getting a chance at Okada in general shows faith in him. And I think it'll be an entertaining match. And yeah, Sammy gets a lot of hate, but I don't think that hate's warranted. I don't think the hate that Sammy gets is warranted. I think he's a phenomenal performer in the ring. I think he's made mistakes in his past. And I think some people just want to harp on him for those mistakes. So thoughts on Sammy versus Okada? I personally am super excited to see how they go. I think they have such great chemistry. I think that they both have styles where they can blend well together. You have Sammy who can do more of the aerial work. You have Okada who's more of a ring technician but can keep up with Sammy's pace. They both can hit pretty hard. Okada can really teach him a lesson and kind of be not like a ring general in that ring. And I think that New York crowd will be hot for it. They just sold another 400 tickets just off the Nigel and Bryan announcement alone. I think that's fantastic. They're moving tickets. They're promoting media. Hello. Yes. Emily is in the chat right now. She gets up early for work, so that's why it's kind of like a Mongo at the midnight hour, so to speak. But she is in the chat, so she can see you. So hello. We're just talking about Sammy. So while you're here, what do you think about Sammy versus Okada? What do you think about this build with him and Dustin? Because again, it's just, I think that fake hate he gets. I think that fake outrage. And I think the direction he's going is great. I mean, I think finally they see what they have in Sammy. He's a great in-ring talent. He just needs a gimmick that can get over, or he needs a character that people can relate with. And having met him on the cruise and seeing how he interacted with talent and seeing how he interacted with fans and seen the kind of person he was, maybe cheer for him a little harder. I mean, I think he's just a geek at heart, and he loves doing this, and he's really good at it. He was trained by Booker T, and I think he deserves a shot. I think he deserves to go to the next level and have that trust put under him. And he's 3-time TNT champion. One of the best matches they don't talk about is him and Cody in that TNT title ladder match. I mean, that crazy Cody cutter off the ladders, and they both went like down hard. Like, in hindsight, he had a great match with the WWE champion on the way out the door. So, all right, I guess Sammy's not a popular topic here. So let's, what about Roosh winning? What about Roosh? He did give our son the first training lesson, told him to lay down, look at those lights, because you know that's what you're going to see when you wrestle me in the ring. So absolutely. I got to talk about Roosh getting the win here. Main event, did not expect Roosh and Beast Mordos and their team to finally get the win. Beast Mordos finally getting the dub. What are we thinking about Beast Mordos here? I know we've been posting some love on him, seeing him finally break out of his shell, so to speak. I think it's really entertaining to see what we got on Beast Mordos. But Roosh winning sends signs. That sends signs for sure. So is the Don Callis family going to split that way? You know, is that the direction we're leading? Because they did tease Roosh going to the Don Callis family a while back. Is that where we're going? Is that why the United Empire is back? Like, that would make sense to me, having Roosh in this new version of the Don Callis family. Maybe costing Ospreay and Fletcher the win. Maybe Mark Davis forms, comes back. We get the United Empire versus Don Callis family. Because you have Preston, you have Roosh. Maybe that's where the new LGI goes. Maybe that's where we have this new version of Roosh's group, with Don Callis as a heel and being that mouthpiece, having Beast Mortis potentially with him. I mean, I think that's where we're going there. Getting nervous for Darby Allin at Grand Slam as he defends his title shot against Moxley. Hope that he retains the shot. So I have those notes in there, but I to go talk about that. But yeah, if you want to talk about Darby, I'll circle back. So Darby, I don't see him losing his shot and not going to Wrestle Dream. I think it's going to be a triple threat. I think Darby somehow escapes this match with a cheap pin, and he goes on to Wrestle Dream, and Moxley throws a fit. He attacks people, and I think he gets inserted, and I think it's a triple threat match to put more danger on Bryan, because now Bryan doesn't have to be pinned to lose his title. Moxley and Darby could pin each other for one of them to become the new champion. So Darby could theoretically pin Moxley for the title, and maybe there's a loophole there. I don't know. I think it's weird to shoehorn the title away from Darby. So I think they got to protect that some way. But Darby seems on another level right now. I mean, he came out tonight talking about how there's a war coming. You know, told Uno that Moxley doesn't respect people like you. He thinks you're a loser, and he's right. Moxley's kind of going after anyone he doesn't think really takes the company seriously. He is going after people he doesn't think embody the spirit of AEW, what AEW was, is, and is going to be. So is Moxley thinking he's going to put the company on his back again? Maybe this is that twisted method of he was the ace for so long, everything rides on his shoulders. Is that where we're going with Moxley? I mean, but, you know, Darby has always been this close, has always been close to the mountaintop. He lost against Jericho. Never really got a fair shot at the title otherwise. Had the 4-way match with MJF, ended up losing that. So Moxley's never really had Darby's never had a fair shot at Moxley, or Darby's never really had a fair shot at anyone. I can see a triple threat as like the natural progression. He goes from a fatal 4-way to a triple threat. Not quite there for singles. Not ready for the title. I don't know. And then we have, or maybe a fatal 4-way because Christian Cage has a title short. Maybe Kip Sabian. Ooh, you're right. Kip Sabian just got screwed last night on Rampage. Kip Sabian had the win, and Nick Wayne stole the win from him by pulling Kip Sabian off of him and taking the pin. So that's very good thoughts. That's very good thoughts of they should have a Fatal 4 because that would be even crazier match of Wrestle Dream. I think it's absolutely crazy that we don't know where this is going with Bryan right now. We don't know where this is going with Darby and Mox. And there's BS rumors coming out today that, Tony Khan's booking week to week. No more long-term storytelling, as if Mariah May's story didn't just exist, as if the Hangman Swerve story didn't just exist, as if they're not building off the BCC and Bryan Danielson, as if they're not building off other stories with Darby, as if they're not building off Christian and his lineage. But those long-term stories don't exist. But what do I know? I think that Grand Slam is a chance to kind of have a special Dynamite, but also make an impact. I mean, think about 2 years ago, you had Saraya debut. Think about Sammy turning on Jericho last year. Who knows? Do we see Nigel and Bryan? Let's go to that before we do a cheap plug to our Nigel episode coming very soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. You'll know. But we have Nigel coming out at the end of Collision and cutting one of the most passionate promos, telling Bryan, don't do it for me. Don't do it for you. Do it for the fans. And you have Tony Schiavone stepping up and saying, listen, I know what you're trying to do. You know Bryan's motivated by fans. You're trying to get him to come out. You're trying to goat him the wrong way. This isn't right. And I'll tell you what, I've been in the business 5 decades, and he's the best wrestler I've seen. And then Nigel saying, you're lucky you're Tony Schiavone, or else I would have knocked you on your ass. So we have this 15 years in the feud in the making. And again, cheap plug, our episode coming soon. It's incredible. And that promo was so passionate. And he's been building this promo by himself sans John Cena Undertaker WrestleMania 34, which Nigel was there. So it's almost like they're using Grand Slam as this launching point into the Wrestle Dream season. And then Wrestle Dream's going to launch them into Full Gear, which will into World's End. And World's End kind of was a big shock to the system last time. And now you have to think about, they're going to go into Tokyo and they're going to have Wrestle Dynasty with New Japan. And they're going to Australia. So to say they don't have week-to-week booking is bullshit, because they have this roadmap clearly laid out where they're going to be going to the other side of the fucking globe. And just seeing what they're building now for these next couple pay-per-views is wild, and seeing what they're doing. And I agree, the feud between Mox and Darby has started to intensify more, because Mox feels like he should just get the title. Darby should give it up, and Darby says, you have to beat me for it. That's Darby, and that's what having Sting with him did. It gave him a backbone. Not the one he tattooed on, but it gave him a backbone. And I think people see Darby and they just see this scrawny kid who doesn't deserve it, but he goes out there every single time and he throws himself around like a car crash. He launches himself at people. Everything he could do with his body as a weapon, he does. Now, is that the best style of wrestling to stay healthy? Obviously not. But he goes out there and he just slams himself into people. He uses his body like a weapon. He doesn't understand limits. He doesn't understand to stop. He just does. And I think Darby and Mox are going to tear it down. I think you see a shocking victory. I think Darby takes the victory because I don't see him losing a shot. And I think it has intensified. And now we got to talk about something I'll probably drop every viewer off here. But we have Jericho in the Learning Tree going up against the conglomeration here, with never-ending feud with Orange Cassidy. I liked the most Mayhem. It's Emily's favorite match. It's one of my favorite matches. I liked the little callback when he's wearing the jacket, Orange Cassidy paying him in quarters, putting in pennies and dumping it in his car, scratching the paint. Is this where we get Enzo? In New York, we have that Big Bill who's teasing the dissension. Do we get an Enzo Big Bill reunion in New York? I mean, I feel like if you're going to pull the trigger on the real one, as he calls himself nowadays, it's got to be New York, right? Like, is that what we're doing here? Is like, why else are we doing this never-ending feud with Orange Cassidy and Jericho? It's got to lead to something. And please don't lead to more Orange Cassidy Jericho matches, because I feel like you've kind of already run that gambit. And I think that Orange Cassidy needs to kind of feud different direction right now. But is this where we're getting Enzo? Are we getting Enzo, or the artist formerly known as Enzo Amore, the real one, wherever he's calling himself now? Are we getting him in New York? I mean, it's his backyard, basically. Yeah, controversy aside, I'm not a fan of Enzo. I'll put it out there. I don't want to see Enzo, but I feel like if they're going to do it, bada bing, bada boom, Grand Slam's got to be the thing to do. Ugh, I don't want it. Don't get his merch either. And you can't teach that. That's right, Johnny Cadillac. Caddy Chat Wrestle Talk Podcast. Make sure you check it out. Apple and Spotify. Johnny Cadillac, the one, the only. Also, make sure if you're out in Nebraska, you check out that Evil Commissioner. I don't know. I heard he does some shady things out there. But I heard he had a sweet person on there once for a crossover episode, or more than once. I heard there was also a cool Intercontinental episode, some tag team turmoil that we had. So check out Johnny Cadillac's thoughts there. But so Johnny, what do you think since you're in there? What do you think? Do you think we get Enzo? Do you think we get him? Again, it's right there. And I know what the discourse is going to be. We all know what the discourse is going to be the second Enzo's even in attendance. But I feel like it would be kind of a fun callback, even if it's for a hot minute. I mean, remember they tried that Ring of Honor stunt for a while. That worked out well. When Big Bill and Enzo like attacks the workers. Walter says they always build up Grand Slam so good. I'm aiming to go to New York City. Do it. Do it. For a one-off, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. And Professor Bear, I got to get back to you on your email. Didn't forget that. But I agree. For a one-off, I think it could be done. I think it could be done. I think it would be fun. Just I don't want Enzo around permanently. I don't think he's it when it comes to in-ring ability. I think he's a great mouthpiece, and I think he can talk. I don't think he can walk. His merch smells bad too. We got some of his merch once at a wrestling event. Emily takes it out in the car and smelled horrible. I know he's on the cruise. That's why I'm like, oh, it could happen. Maybe it happens on the cruise instead, so it doesn't count canon wise. But Walter's got his correct spelling. Apparently, I'm spelling wrong. Seeing Enzo at Grand Slam would be great, just let alone a one-off. Is he gonna do that little stupid dance where he like shuffles his feet back and forth and like do the little like peacock thing, like how you doing? Or is that trademarked now? Yeah, ugh. He is a character. I mean, I get it. You kind of need personalities in wrestling, but Enzo, I don't know. I mean, speaking of characters, though, let's switch to something positive. How about that Outrunners, though? Winning, even though they didn't win the main, they're in the main event of Collision. And this is a great segue into Emily's topic. We've seen down at AEW with Cruise 4, we don't need them in AEW, maybe by appearance. Exactly. Plenty of non-AEW people in TNA have gone in there. Some people from the Indies, but speaking of the Cruise, you got the Outrunners in the main event in Springfield, Massachusetts on Collision. Over as hell right now. I think the Cruise Rub helped out with the Outrunners there. The youngest, most vascular men, and literally went from a team on Dark that in NWA they were like, "Who is this?" to I dig it. The Outrunners are creating steam. I agree. I didn't quite get the hype at first. I'm not gonna lie, but Smokey, aka Jeff, happy belated birthday by the way, has been Outrunner. He's been down since day one. Down since day one with these Outrunners since they were in their rookie year, which is still going on by the way. He's been a fan of them. Riding jet skis in Miami. I hope they come back on the cruise. Hope the Outrunners come back on the cruise. They were fantastic last time. They were so entertaining in the ring. Life of the boat. I feel like we talk about the Cruise Rub, and that's the Cruise Rub right there. Like, you want to see which team has some chemistry and can get organically over. Throw them on the cruise with that 2,500 people. We'll tell you. Also, I think they have the number one selling shirt right now at Pro Wrestling Tees, which is wild. Professor Bear says, next AEW World Tag Team Championship. That would be interesting. I could see that, but I don't know about next. Did you see? I I don't know if they got the graphic. I would assume they're at least on some sort of a per appearance deal. How you doing? And then we have Scotty McLaughlin here. First saw NWA Crockett Cup. I know I wanted to go to the Crockett Cup when it was down here in the Carolina, Scott. I didn't get a chance to go with you and Donnie. Oh, that would have been fun to see them. Yeah, they're so entertaining. And I love that it's like a throwback of the 80s. It has some, 90s, new gen, next gen, whatever we're calling it, era. Like they're self-aware about it. Their promo packages, that promo they did when they built up the debut on Dynamite and the training videos they do on Twitter, they're so fantastic. They're just, I thought they were going to be like the Conquistadors. I thought they were just going to be that lovable jobber team. But remember, we all thought the Acclaimed was kind of a joke at first. They were kind of a thrown together team. Caster and Bowens didn't really team on the indies. They came to AEW, were thrown together. The whole scissoring thing at first, we're like, oh, this rap gimmick. What? But then they became all out. Everyone wanted them to win. And now we have the Outrunners who are getting all this love. So it's like they listen to the fans. So let's hope, it's a good appeal because you kind of got it. Wrestling as a buffet. You kind of got to have something for everyone. That episode on Talk of Jericho wrestling back in the 80s was awesome. Absolutely. I like some of the little things they talked about, like with Undertaker and everything. They really know their stuff. Show some love to Turbo Magnum. Yeah, super genuine guys too. And I think sometimes you just see people who just get it in the business. Like they just understand being in gimmick without being in gimmick, if that makes sense. Like even on the cruise, like they weren't fully in their gimmick, spoiler alert, but they still embraced it. Still had fun with it. But then when they wrestled, they committed to it. Even like, the MJFs or the Undertakers or the Bret Harts or, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall back in the day, when you kept your gimmick, it kept your kind of like your aura. And I think the Outrunners are doing it just enough where they're keeping it real on social media. They're keeping it real when they cut their promos on being live in the 80s and doing all that stuff. And it's fun. It's entertaining. And I'm excited to see where they go. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be skyrocketed to tag team championships, but I think you got to put them in the conversation and let them get some wins under their belt and go for them. Because the second they do win the titles, that their place is going to erupt. But I think that's something you build towards. You build towards them getting the titles, that place is going to go nuclear. Ugh. Speaking of nuclear, Hangman Jeff Jarrett lumberjack strap match. Like, what is that? A lumberjack strap match? I'm glad Jeff Jarrett basically said he's taking us back to his Carney roots because was not expecting a lumberjack strap match. Yikes. I think it's just going to be clusterfuckery, but it's going to be entertaining as hell. Hangman being more brutal than he's basically ever been this run, more back to the vigilante days of Ring of Honor. Jeff Jarrett, his matches are always overbooked chaos, madness, and shenanigans, so it'll be fun. Put Double J in charge of Ring. Yes, Double J, and right now Paul White's helping. Put them in charge. Get them, maybe that's what they can do with Shockwave. Maybe make Shockwave, Ring of Honor Shockwave. Everyone keeps saying it's going to be an AEW third hour, AEW show, but what if it's Ring of Honor Shockwave? No one's talked about that. What if Ring of Honor is going on True TV? They're talking about there's a portion of the TV going to True TV. What if it's Ring of Honor? What if they're finally getting it off just the app and maybe putting Thursday episodes somewhere out there? Absolutely have Double J book it. Have them work it. I think it can be entertaining as long as they know their identity, that they're kind of like a developmental and homage to Ring of Honor. Absolutely. I mean, I think right now Ring of Honor has a good bench for AEW. You have Billy Starks. You have Queen Aminata, who's rose up through the ranks. You have Athena basically helping shape that women's division with her record-breaking almost 650-day reign. So there's so much potential. Yeah, Rampage is, the rumors I keep seeing too is that it's canceled. Well, not canceled, but being replaced. So we'll see. I'm curious about that too. Any surprises in store for Grand Slam? Do we have anything? I mean, it's a pretty stacked card too. It's 6 matches already, plus they got Collision afterwards. So it's 2 matches in Collision. So it's 8 matches. So it's basically a pay-per-view card in New York. And I think they need to advertise that it's a pay-per-view card in New York. I guess we can kind of see what they're doing with Australia too. How are they going to book it in Australia? Are they going to do it very similar where they do a double taping? I think it makes sense. Make it a pay-per-view card. Give fans their money's worth. Especially with other companies' ticket prices, as you heard on at the end podcast there. Whew, thousands of dollars for nosebleeds. Thousands of dollars for nosebleeds. If you're going to charge someone hundreds of dollars to go to an event, you got to give them something to make their money worth it. I mean, right now AEW either does a Rampage or some Ring of Honor matches, so at least you get some bonus content. But Grand Slam right now, you're getting your money's worth. That is a hell of a card for a Dynamite / Collision taping. That is a hell of a card. Yeah, they definitely haven't made any debuts in a while. A lot of returns, but I wonder if they've signed down on signing. I wonder if they're kind of trying to build around their core. Like it seems like they're trying to build around their core now, like have a bench of players, which I really enjoy because that's kind of when AEW is the most successful. I think they are better when they focus on who they have versus who they have coming in. I think they've had a lot of good talents come in. Oh, absolutely. Who doesn't love Nigel? You'll have to check out our episodes we just did. Well, I teased it earlier. It'll be dropping real soon. I just got to finish editing up and getting it out onto YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We just did a great episode on Nigel and Bryan's rivalry. It's called Pure, the rivalry of Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson. It's a magic episode. If you know, you know. All right. So I guess since we talk about debuts, let's go back to Saraya, who debuted at Grand Slam 2022. She's going to be taking on Jamie Hayter in a Saraya rules match. And basically the Saraya rules are she can do whatever she wants and Hayter can't. So Saraya can use weapons, Hayter can't. Saraya can have rope breaks, Hayter can't. Saraya can have interference, Hayter can't. So it's basically Saraya gets her own way match. She gets a no DQ match and Hayter gets a basic wrestling match. So it's kind of interesting. I still think Hayter takes it, but a Saraya rules match. Now there's rumors that Saraya's kind of out the door too. So is this her way of putting over Hayter as she leaves? Is there going to be more to it? I feel like Hayter's return is to come in and take out everyone in the Outcast and everyone who's wronged her. Starting with Saraya is great, but it's got to lead to somewhere. So maybe talking debuts, do we have a return or debut here? Do we have someone afterwards that Jamie can challenge soon? Because the world champion's busy. The TBS champion doesn't have a program, but Hayter's still kind of got to go through everyone. Ruby's out on maternity leave. She can't really go after Tony right now. Tony's still kind of tied up with Mariah. So what direction do we have for Hayter after this? So that's what I'm curious to see is after she kind of takes out Saraya, what's the direction for Hayter? Also, shout out to her gear. I love like that 70s show vibe. It's fun. Mariah too. You know, she's fighting Yuka Wednesday. She's still teasing Tony. She's still using Storm Zero. She's still blowing kisses. She's rolling around the ring. She's asked Mina, and that could be the surprise too. She's asked Mina to come. Mina said she will, but she's not the same. So do we get Mina at Grand Slam? Like, do we get Mina at Grand Slam? Like that could be something too, having Mina show up. I mean, that would be a great place for a debut in New York. You know, kind of after Mariah wins, maybe setting up the Mariah Mina match at Wrestle Dream. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Because that's kind of where I see that going. Yeah, same. Mina at Wrestle Dream. I think we at least need the match at Wrestle Dream. I think that's what makes sense. You know, builds Mariah up to see her fight her former friend. She already took out her mentor. Now she can go after her former friend and tag partner, someone who took care of her in Stardom, someone who loves her and wants the best for her. She's going to go after her. I mean, it'll show the depth to Mariah May's transition to her evil heel character. You know, it'll show her like the Descent of Madness. I mean, look at Tony. She's basically walked to Australia, according to her. She walked home. She went to the Gold Coast. She's gone. She left. She pops up to promote Grand Slam in Australia. She'll pop up to promote Tony on the NFL Network, but for all intents and purposes, she's gone. They're definitely setting up. Yes, that video package. That's right. That's right. They're definitely setting up that on this. It makes sense. It's and also can help kind of keep that Tony story going until Grand Slam Australia. Marty's hard because there's a lot of people who have very valid opinions on both sides. Enzo, I think they're on the cruise. He's on the cruise, and he could be Marty again. Marty's hard. Marty's wife, Serena Deeb, works there, but a lot of people have feelings on Marty, and I think it would just open up a can of worms that they're not wanting to do. I don't know enough about what's true and what isn't to make a comment on it. I just know what I've read and heard. And again, the internet's like a game of telephone. So like what I've read and heard could be completely different. But last thing I wanted to kind of talk about was Willow. We got Willow making her return since All Out on Collision. And she seems to be right in the crosshairs of Deonna and Taya Valkyrie, that's interesting. Like, is she feuding after Deonna's new faction? Is Deonna trying to recruit her? Is Deonna trying to get more people in the faction? Is Deonna just trying to get the disgruntled women? I'm curious where this is going, but I think it's a good direction for Willow. They had their blow off feud for Statlander, get her in a new direction. She just lost her title in CMLL. She needs that fresh perspective. She needs that fresh feud. Her and Deonna, that would be a money match. That would be fun. They both work a very stiff style. They both work a very tech style, and Willow is very bubbly and fun, and Deonna is very vicious and mean, so they can have really good promo battles. So I'm here for that one. I love Willow. Another one on the cruise that was absolutely genuine the entire time, and one of the nicest people you ever see. So anything else you guys got to talk about Grand Slam? The week in review? I know this is kind of a test run here to see how these Saturday nights will work. Again, Emily's got to work early in the morning, so I figured I'd jump on and shoot the shit on a Saturday, or shooting the sit with Mongo on a Saturday. I don't know. I still name pending. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a great week of Dynamite. I think it was a great week of Collision. I absolutely think it's been fun to watch. And yes, Serena Deeb is Marty Scurll's wife. I know. I don't know the full story on that, but yes, they've been married for a few years at least. But yes, Serena Deeb and Marty Scurll are a couple. And Serena too, she's out there. She's challenging Britt Baker for the 5th anniversary. So I like a lot of attention on the women's side. You had attention on the Willow feud. You had attention on Mariah May. You had attention on Queen Aminata. You had attention on Serena Deeb. And then Serena Deeb's feud. You had Saraya. You had Hayter. So you had 7 or 8 women involved in one 2-hour show tonight. And then Dynamite, you had more. So I like that they're expanding on the women's division. I like that they're expanding on the roster. Now, if we can get that tag division straightened out, we're eating good. We're eating real good. So, but I hope everyone has a great Saturday night. Just wanted to pop on here for a little bit. Thanks for everyone who chatted with me. And I'll probably be on next Saturday, but stay tuned for our next episode, which drops again real soon. It's the Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness feud. It'll be on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you stream podcasts or watch podcasts. We have a couple of other great episodes in the works. We have a few watch-alongs for our subscriber that we're going to watch. We're actually going to go back in time and watch the original Tough Enough from season 1 onward. It's rough, but we're going to go through and watch it. We got some good comments for you. So appreciate you guys always for tuning in. Remember, always keep the kayfabe.